Welcome to Rules of Villainy, episode 31, where three new trading card game players try to stay on time and keep this podcast under 75 minutes. Will we do it? Probably not. But we're also going to quest and challenge their way to the competitive top tables to discuss their opinions on Disney's Lorcana. We'll be discussing the latest news in Lorcana, answering your questions, and going over the latest developments of the metagame. I'm Bill and Vince, joined by my two co-hosts, as always, Villain Andy and the mayor of Lorcana himself, Brad. How's it going tonight, gentlemen?
I feel like we're running at 1.5 times speed the way you did that intro, my man. Whew, you did that fast.
Listen.
Go.
I said 75 minutes. We're keeping it on time.
All right, next segment. Moving into the news.
I also think we have a mutiny on our hands, guys.
A mutiny?
Yeah, I got rumblings. A little bird told me that there's a little organization being formed called the Laws of Heroism. And they have a mascot called Amethyst, the Ruby Dragon. What are we gonna do about this?
Well, listen, we tell our viewers every time, and I think Andy said this, that we warn folks of wannabe heroes, and that's what these are. They're just wannabe heroes.
It's true,
and it's okay.
Our villainous plans.
Yeah. It's okay. They can try. But there is, yeah. And he thinks he wants a guest spot on one of our streams.
Yeah. Cross his name off the list.
All right. Well, we'll get into underground news here. So it was a pretty uneventful weekend, I think, right? That's what I understand. Nothing going on in the Lorcana community this weekend.
Did you say underground news, sir?
Underworld news.
Oh my
underground.
God.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at this point.
I mean, the underworld is kind of underground, symbolically.
Yeah.
Okay. It just seems like a Laws of Heroism faux pas there, but we'll continue on. Not a lot happened this weekend, I don't think, did it?
Yeah, no. I mean, something happened great to you, Brad.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. I won my first set championship. Let's go. I got the mat back here. It came in a really cool top loader from Underground Dojo. I walked in and saw that back there. I'm like, oh, that's really cool that they did that. I've always wanted to get one of those to frame my Winnie the Pooh mat. But no, much to my surprise, on a day that I almost didn't even play, everything went my way, and I got my first set championship with a Mufasa deck, which I still can't believe. I had the most fun it's ever been, the best the deck's ever worked for me, and I have a deck. I actually went down last night and made a deck tech video, just kind of talking about the play lines and what I tried to do, and my experience with the games that I had, and I still kind of. Somebody asked me about it this morning. Mark from our team reached out to congratulate me. We haven't heard from him in a while, and I'm like, honestly, I'm still kind of in shock. That everything went that way. Even Humble, one of the pioneers for the deck, reached out on Twitter after I put the matchups on. He's like, I think his exact quote was, "Oh, look at you winning matchups you shouldn't be." Because it's still baffling to me, but
I just have to say, congratulations, and
thank you.
We want you to enjoy everything that's going on. But
how on topic, by the way, Mufasa winning the Scar set.
I know, right?
Yeah, it is.
Well, what I was going to say is we do have also an interview with Brad coming out. So we have the deck tech video, which I think is funny because we recorded the interview before we recorded the deck tech interview. And so we're like, oh, it's coming soon. But of course, the deck tech video came out before the interview. And honestly, the interview's late because of me. I'm the blame that I need to interview somebody. So
it's all right. We probably just did it again. It'll probably still come out before this episode comes out. So we're probably still referencing it in the wrong space.
Yeah, wrong space, wrong order. It's all right.
Hey, we're villains. That's the rules of villainy. We got to keep you on your toes and keep you guessing. Otherwise, you'll always foil our plans. So but not this time.
But I'm so excited for you that you were able to win that and you wanted it so much. And yes, I think it is actually quite fitting that it was a Mufasa deck.
Yeah.
That got you the Starman.
The only matchup that I lost that day was the first one, and it was a mirror match. It was wild. I sat down and I forgot what he inked because he's like, you're gonna have fun with this one, and I'm like, huh, you playing something spicy, huh? And I forget what he inked and what he played, if anything, but I had a hunch at that point. Then I did the same thing and was like, it's gonna be a Mufasa deck, and yeah, I lost the die roll, so it didn't go in my favor. I looked at the scores just a little bit ago because I kept all the sheets, and the game where I was on the play, just a blowout. The games when he was on the play, a total blowout because I was trying to control and just couldn't get there. But yeah, I found that funny. And then I talk about it more in the video. I don't want to waste a whole lot of time here on this. So check the channel if you haven't yet. I do have a deck tech video out. Vince alluded to the interview that's coming out as well, along with a couple other winners from the past weekend. And yeah, it was just to put a lid on it. It was amazing and probably my favorite Lorcana experience to date. So
Yep. And Brad is now a fan of the best of 3 format.
yeah.
But with that, I should say, yes, we hear you that there was another event that occurred this weekend. It was the DLC Down Under in Melbourne, Australia. But we do want to say congratulations to friend of the show, DKP, who took it down from I think he's from Europe, right? Like I don't know exactly where he lives in.
I don't know what part.
He's a man of the world. He's a man of the world. He goes to all events.
When he shipped that binder to me, I won a giveaway on his Twitter a few months ago. It came from Germany, so I think he might be in Germany, or maybe that's just where he shipped it from. I don't know, but yeah, I joked in our show notes that maybe DKP himself is the 3 pillars of Lorcana because he's played in all 3 continental and top down in Australia, and an absolutely incredible run. He was trying to be 9-0 and he almost got there in Swiss, and then to take down the top cut, with this another iteration of Sapphire Ruby, protect the manor. All he was doing is throwing sometimes 3-4 McDuck manors out there and saying do something about it, right? And absolutely incredible to watch. And yeah,
great games. And like you said here, he outlasted God. I see you've got it in there, Brad. So I just want to make a note of that. That was a Melee username. We don't know who that individual is,
but it was so exciting in the early rounds to see DKP 2-0, God 2-0. I'm like, they're gonna meet. I can't wait. DKP is gonna have to take down God to win this tournament.
But, we are truly villains here, though. Talking about it, though, because we're on the side of Hades, not Zeus.
Sure.
Over here. We're on the side of Scar, not Mufasa. Yeah, good times. But we will slightly address the incident that occurred. Although I would encourage you to go watch other content creators who have addressed this completely, whether it be Spessy, who interviewed, remind me,
Jesse was the player's name, and Albert.
Well, Jesse was the player name. Albert was the name.
Albert.
He's the judge who judged the head judge of the first 3 DLC tournaments, and I think he was the tournament organizer of the next 3 of them as well. So super knowledgeable about the rules. I mean, in that video, he is quoting the individual rule numbers right off the top of his head.
Yep.
And I have to consult my red book over here to my red binder to see what the rules are. But I think you get an idea from the player perspective. Jesse, you also get from, well qualified head judge. And there have also been some other content creators like Villain, a Baker, right?
Yeah, Lorcana Villain.
And just doing a terrible job hosting here today, guys.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
If you prefer like C tier content, you can look at Dick Burns and TFM.
No, they're D tier. Why are you giving them a promotion? The D tier content over there at the Forbidden Mountain. But yeah, they did cover it as well.
All great,
very well,
definitely.
Yeah, very well covered. It's one of those things. Like I felt like. I said ahead of time, I said, publicly, or in our Discord, everybody is already spent enough time on it. We felt like we owed it to you guys listening. You may not know about what happened, but encourage you to go find out. I'm tired. I'm exhausted from it already. I'm so glad that I played in the set championship on Sunday so I could actively ignore it all day because it was the talk of the town. It's going to be for a while until, the investigation concludes and everything about the how do we want to call it? The alleged cheating in the top cut. So
yeah, I would say it's the incident. The thing I'll say about this is like, it is fair to be critical of Ravensburger and have constructive criticism. But I think there comes a line where it's like, a lot is said. What else are you going to add to that conversation? And also just recognize that a lot of great people went to play and had really great experiences. And I know that's not what's being said. Like, a lot of people have poor experiences, and Ravensburger should address that going forward. And we don't really get to hear about the amazing experience of Jesse, like him talking about, like, this was his third competitive event at for Disney Lorcana, and to make top 8 even, is just incredible. His first TCG. And you've got folks like DKP, this is like a huge victory for a key Lorcana player to go to all these different events. And, I get it. It's frustrating to see something like, this happen at a DLC, but also we need to devote some positive attention to the great things and the great experiences and the great achievements that others in our community did as well. And, I see a lot of folks, we're not immune to it. We, share memes around about certain things that happen too. But ultimately, like, at the end of the day, what I think we all hope for is that Ravensburger addresses this. We get some sort of more official judge program, that hopefully there's some rectification here. Like, I do really genuinely feel bad for Jesse. Just to set it straight. What you saw on camera, what Jesse did, is absolutely, totally, 100% within the rules of Lorcana. You can do that. The bag works in the way in which you can, put triggers in. You don't have to announce them that you're putting them in the bag, and you can take them out in any order in which you choose. And listen, I do have a little bit of a criticism to Ravensburger here that they did not update the rules and Albert goes into this more in depth. So I do encourage you to go watch that Speci video. But, Albert goes into this in depth that, like, you shouldn't have to go to these Discord communities and try to figure out what the updated rules are. Ravensburger knew that a rule they had in their tournament support guide absolutely contradicted a rule that was in their rule book and didn't change it. It was just left unsaid for a roadmap to be changed later. And that's just unacceptable, really, I think. Like, I think that's a huge miss. And I'll just say this is like, don't blame the judge about this. Like, judges make mistakes. They don't 100% always know how the rules work. There are a lot of different card games out there that have similar-ish rules that work in different fashions, and they can't be knowledgeable. They're not getting a lot of pay. They're not, maybe no pay or very little pay to go judge these events to make them successful for everybody else. This is why we have things like head judges in these events that should be much more knowledgeable about the rules. And so players should be encouraged. I say this at the events that we run. Please, if you have questions, ask a judge. Don't ask your tournament opponent. Don't ask your neighbor. Ask a judge. And if you feel that judge isn't giving you the right call, appeal that ruling.
Yep. And I think that's something that Jesse, just in the moment, and if I could empathize with him, forgot that he could do. I think he even says that in Speci's video, that I forgot that I could do that, because I know me in that situation. If that call, knowing that it's wrong, like I would be overwhelmed with just anxiety of that a judge was called on me, and 2, question, like, what the heck is happening right now that, a figure of authority told me that this is accurate. Right. So I can empathize and be like, yeah, I might have done the same thing if I not have the courage or even think to speak up and be like, I need to escalate this, So
this is a different situation too. This isn't 1,000 people in a room with 50 judges walking around, where you might consider going, okay, I want to appeal to like a head judge. this judge is sitting at the table specifically assigned to this match. It is one of 4 matches going on. So it you know, in the
One of
moment,
two, right?
you know,
It's top
even
4, wasn't it?
this was a top 8 match.
Top 4. Oh, I'm sorry.
This was a top 8 match to get into top 4. So there's only 4 matches going on. You know, even if I'm in Jesse's shoes and this happens, even if I like go into slow-mo and I'm calculating, you know, the math is floating past my head, I'm calculating all the situations and I'm thinking, okay, well, reasonably, these are the 4 best judges they have, right? Which, you know, that's not to be a dig at any of the judges or anything like that. You know, it seems very reasonable to be like, this is a judge assigned to my table. Why would I need, you know, who else am I going to call? So I completely agree with you, Brad. Like, I empathize for that kind of situation, but I think it's unjust what happened. I think Vince is right. All those things need to be addressed. But there were 500 plus players at that event. Like you said, one of which DKP is the most deserving of all of our attention right now, for his insane accomplishment. And I'm extremely excited to see him at Worlds. And
Yeah, if we get a date.
Not today, Vince. Not today.
Worlds on December 31st, 2025.
No. I'm hoping. We got reveal season is upon us.
Yes.
We're looking
Just
February.
a few days away when this airs. Yeah.
The one thing I will just stress that I think Brad kind of brings up is, you know, being in the moment and stuff. It doesn't matter if you are in a competitive event. I will just say this. Please do not feel obligated to, you know, do things that you are uncomfortable with. Like, I think some people really are uncomfortable saying no to things, right? You know, so if your opponent asks, can I undo a move and stuff, you know, if you are really uncomfortable saying no to that, call a judge, you know, and let the judge be the person to address that. And stuff.
Even if you know, said than done, though. I'm one who advocates for this, but even in real life, I've had this situation where you just
on the smallest scale at game night last weekend, like that actually affected my game too, against Michael. And I knew the repercussions of like was just too nice, you know. Like, I knew at this level I probably shouldn't, but I didn't think about it till afterwards, where he forgot to ice block his SME when he brought out the big C, when he brought out the. Hold on, how did I do this? He forgot to ice block my SME. Sorry, I was completely when he brought out a big Sisu to wipe my board, and he asked if he could take it back, and that SME would have gotten me, I think, one more turn away. I was one more turn away from winning the game, and because he took that SME off, he was able to take out both my entire board and the Manor with the shift and the Maui that was on board, and shut me down. But the SME would have lasted, got me to 18, and I think I would have won the next turn with something else. I don't remember. It's weeks past now, but the point of that anecdote was to back up Vince, like don't be afraid to say no, because I often am, even when I'm just being nice. If you don't know, absolutely say no and call a judge so they can, you know, walk you through, or I don't know if they can walk you through it, but if you can understand the situation of what you're saying yes or no to, right? Yeah, I'm probably going on too much about that. Go ahead.
No, I would just say, like, if you're one of those people that don't want to say no and you want to be nice, and like, I get it. I think that's awesome. Like, I really want to cultivate a positive experience. You can call a judge over, you know, and you could just tell your opponent. You don't have to be like, oh, you know, it's like you didn't do this right or whatever. It's like, hey, look, I just want to make sure we're doing this right, so I'm going to call a judge, and then raise your hand and, you know, yell out judge and stuff. Like, you can, you know, that's what judges are there for, is to help make a positive experience and make sure games stay in the right state and stuff. And I'll just say, like, you know, that's just one of those things that I would like to see more of, I think, in Lorcana community and stuff. Cause I, like, you know, the best competitive play is when, you know, sometimes you do miss certain triggers, right? And you do not do things, and it's fine to rewind those when you're playing. But at these more competitive events, you know, it's like we gotta maintain good, clear game states. But we're kind of probably going on. Like I said, the goal here is try to keep this podcast under 75 minutes.
Huh? Yeah.
Good thing we have a short main segment.
Well, we'll see.
Maybe we'll see.
We are after y'all wasted in the news segment. We're definitely having a short main segment.
Well, we are going to talk a little bit about more, but we do have a great event coming up this weekend. Andy, you want to talk a little bit about it?
The Rules of Villainy X Grapes Games 2025, formerly New Year's, spectacular extravaganza, 1.5K, all the prizes ever, live stream, super event.
All the prizes ever.
The best prizes. I don't like calling it the New Year's event anymore. We missed New Year's. We got snowed out, but I think it is for the better. We have what is shaping up to be the largest single Lorcana event that St. Louis area has ever seen. We are currently somewhere around 50 plus players registered and ready to go. We've had to check with the fire marshals for maximum capacity.
He's not joking.
We had to pull in chairs and tables from places far and wide, but it will go on February 8th, this Saturday, 11 a.m. We have just an amazing event planned for you guys. Lots of great prizes for everyone who's coming out. Lots of great games to watch for those of you who are tuning in from home. So be sure to join us right here on YouTube, February 8th, 11 a.m. Central Time.
Yeah,
let's go.
Andy and I will be casting it. And there are some other events that day that are hitting it off as well. There is the Southside Gaming. And if you're looking for some D-tier casters, you can absolutely find them there from the Forbidden Mountain. They'll be there doing that. And I there's also, I think, a PBG tournament as well. But really, honestly, if you're looking for the best casting of Lorcana, you should definitely be tuning into the Rules of Villainy and no one else on Saturday. I mean, here's the thing. I do encourage you to go watch the other events, but after, not live. Go watch them after.
Yes, absolutely. You never know what's going to happen on a Rules of Villainy stream. We've had all kinds of special guests join us. We may have some this stream. Who knows? We've had some epic guest casters. I believe Mikey was one of the fan favorite casters.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll be there again. Maybe not. Who knows? You have to tune in to find out. February 8th, 11 a.m. Central Time.
All right. And with that, let's move on to Constituents Corner. Take it away, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Our first question is from John from the Rules of Villainy Discord. He asks, which set had the best enchanted cards? Use whatever criteria you'd like as your basis. Start with you, Vince. Mr.
Gosh.
Enchanted.
That's a hard question, I think, to answer. So I'm looking through my enchanteds now. I think
you got six
all
of them.
Three of them, yeah. No.
I actually really do like the Azurite Sea enchanteds a lot.
Yeah, they really grew on me. I was interested when they announced them, and I'm like, okay, if it's going to be like some treasure map like kind of thing, but yeah, the cartography on some of them, I agree with you. I like those a lot. I don't know if it's my favorite.
I really do like the
my binder of
artists.
Enchanted.
Sorry. Because I'll say that like sets 1 through 3, maybe even kind of 4, in my opinion, are really, they're not the same, but they are similar.
Sure.
But
I kind of like 4 a lot. The idea, the thematic aesthetic of them being visions in Ursula's Cauldron, I think is really cool. I would love to have that Sonic Warrior aerial. I think that's the chase one of that set, if I'm not mistaken.
That's the one where we got the fart Jasmine, right?
That is the one where we got the fart Jasmine, which I happen to have. That's one that Emily pulled from a Target trove.
I
But
don't have
yes,
Sonic
that
Warrior.
Sonic Warrior is a beautiful card.
Thought I did.
Yeah. But
I think it's at 5.
I was gonna set 5 was definitely a runner up for me.
So,
Yeah.
like Vince said, I feel like they're all very, very similar for the first several sets, and then all
Robin
of a
Hood in
sudden
that one
in
is
set 5, when they went borderless,
yeah.
and they just added so much color to them.
Yeah.
Brad will notoriously say that a lot of them don't even look like the color card that they are supposed to be.
True.
What color is that King Candy?
Yeah. He's a blue card, but he's a red, or he's a blue or sapphire ink, but he's a red card. It's wild. So
I have it somewhere, but
it's the same thing with Robin Hood. Robin Hood's mostly a blue card, but he's a red ink.
yeah.
But so
I think those are the prettiest we had so far. If we're not counting, obviously, the Rockstar Stitch Enchanted promo from set 1, which is the greatest card ever. But
You're talking about the set championship card?
Yeah.
Rockstar Stitch Enchanted promo, best card ever.
All right. Next question.
Next question we got from Liam from the Illuminateers. He asked, "What is the most popular, unpopular Disney film?"
Are there any unpopular Disney films? I feel like if I say a film, there's just going to be someone in the comment who's like, "That's not unpopular. That was my favorite movie growing up." Like,
it might be.
It's fair. Fair assessment.
The first one that came to my mind when he asked was The Black Cauldron.
See, that's the exact one that someone in the comments is going to say, "That's not an unpopular movie."
I mean, it is. Like, how many times have you guys seen it? I didn't grow up on The Black. I saw it for probably the first time a couple months ago when we did our Disney date night with it. But I know it has a good following behind it. Like, people like to reference it and talk about it, here and there. But it's not one that I think anybody of my generation really grew up on. So I wouldn't say that it's it's hard. It's a weird question. Liam really hit us with a popular, unpopular movie, right? So, I mean, it's popular enough that it's going to be in the game. I think late this year. I think it's before 2026. Yeah,
right? I think.
Yeah. So, but it's not popular enough that it's a household name. So, I think that's the first one. I think it's going to just gain in popularity with the growth of this game. People are going to be like, "What is that?" People are like, I would be interested to see the numbers on Disney Plus. We'll never see them, but how the percent of viewers that movie goes up when this set drops in Lorcana, because it's
the real opinion here, Brad. Though is you've been on where are you at? Catch our viewers up on where are you at on your Disney date type movies.
This Friday we are doing The Rescuers Down Under. So right before the 90s. I think that's 89, maybe 1990.
So where does the Black Cauldron fit in what you've seen so far?
And what I've seen so far out of all the movies, where do I rank it?
Yeah, where do you put it? You don't have to give a number, but
it's I need to know the basis of which you're asking me. In popularity, I still think you like it.
Need, folks.
What's that?
That's the answer you need, folks. No, I would say would you say it's like in the top 10? Well, I don't even know how many movies there are, but let's say top, percentage of the movies.
I would actually say it was being, probably a first time view. It's in the upper echelon, probably just for the appreciation of not, growing up on it and it being new to me was interesting. I think here's a hot take, and you guys can make a bet on it or something if you want. What is it? The Horned King, the main bad guy in that game or that movie. I think that's who the Horned King, I think is his name. Or I bet when he comes in this game has a rule of villainy on it.
You think so?
I think so. But me and Emily were trying to go through who doesn't have them yet, and I was because she doesn't play, right? So I'm like, we know Jafar is going to be one. We know Hades going to be one. Maybe John Silver. We're trying to fill in the blanks, and we don't know if there's any past 14, right, or 13, whatever the last one is right now. But after watching the Black Cauldron and thinking about him with Emily the other night, I'm like, I bet the Horned King has one. I keep thinking that's not the right name, but I'm gonna look it up.
All right. What about you, Andy? You got a
It's really hard. I guess I'll just also cheat like Brad did and say that I think Big Hero 6 was, at least for me, not the most popular film. I was kind of just like, I like the Disney movies I saw when I was a kid. I don't really know if I have room in my heart for a new one. But again, just like Brad, I recently watched the film, and I'm satisfied with my healthcare. So, it was a great movie. I think it is a little underrated. I think if you think about it, like princesses and magical things are sometimes a little more exciting than like robots and science and stuff. But I'm glad that there is a movie like this out. I think it's really, really cute, really awesome. I think it probably resonates with a lot of people really well.
What about you, Vince?
I think for me, it's probably Treasure Planet.
Treasure Planet.
Yeah, that is a bad
one
movie.
I'm interested in. That's one I'm interested in revisiting. I haven't seen it since theaters. I don't think we ever owned it, but I remember seeing it in the theater.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's something.
Potato Captain.
I was gonna say, but if we get the Potato Captain,
does he make potatoes? In the movie? Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I don't know. I'll let you know when we get to that in our date night.
If it was Pixar, without question, it'd be The Good Dinosaur.
I knew you were going to say. I thought you would say it before Treasure Planet. Honestly, because as Andy was talking about Big Hero 6, I was like, I should have said Good Dinosaur. I was hoping that you.
It is honestly the only Pixar movie to date that I have not finished watching.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes,
that bad.
But here's the thing. I was hyped. I hyped myself up because I got that Pixar hype. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna love this. And then I was like, what have you done?
I may eat my words when I revisit that movie. I may eat my words, but I remember seeing that movie and being in awe at the photorealism of the animation. Like it's a little weird with the dinosaur and Spot running around in the Pixar animated style, but the landscaping and the water, like everything was like so photorealistic, and I was like, this is wild how good that looks. But the movie, again, like you said, that's not really that memorable as far as narratively,
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the ones. Like, was it Brother Bear? There's another one that's a Disney movie, and then there's one like Homeward or something.
Onward,
the
D&D one, yeah. That's the last movie I reviewed before COVID.
The early 2000s were a little rough for Disney animation, and then like there's a period of time where like Pixar wasn't creating the rock stars that they were once doing. But that's okay. You can't win them all.
Them Cars sequels.
Yeah, gotta sell them toys.
Listen, I tell you what I do. I'm a glutton for punishment because I love the Cars. I actually really like Cars 2 because they have a Pope mobile in it. They have a legit Pope in a Pope mobile.
Yeah,
I heard 3 is really good, and I've never seen it.
It is actually pretty decent, I gotta say. Yeah. But Michael Caine is a character in the Cars 2. So
I think Cars 2 is the worst, honestly. One of my buddies' kid is like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. I don't know how old. I don't know how old kids are, but old enough that he likes Cars 1 and 3 and hates Cars 2 because it has too much of Mater in it, and that's his least favorite character. And honestly, I kind of resonate with that. So definitely Cars 1 for me.
I'll make sure to get you a Mater card when Pixar's in this in Lorcana, Disney Lorcana in next year.
That Lightning McQueen mat is gonna be amazing.
Ooh, yeah! Imagine if we get some foil on it.
Ka-chow.
Beautiful.
All right, Lightning Strikes Lorcana tournament. Ka-chow.
Last question from Jordan, the Illuminaire healthcare companion. Which Disney animal companion would you want as your companion? Same question, but which one is the most helpful to the main character?
Ooh, most helpful to the main character. So, first off, I feel like this could be like, um, what are they? The game theory or the food theory channel videos. I feel like this could be its own like 40-minute plus deep dive on which companion actually was the most helpful. But since we don't have that time, Vince has limited us to 75 minutes here. I'll just throw out a guess. I think it might honestly be Hey Hey, because
Boat snack.
besides being nutritional, I do believe that there's multiple times where Hey Hey literally like saves the day, and that like the plot armor is thick on these characters because it is Disney, and you're just like, oh, it's over, gone. Oh wait, no, Hey Hey saved the day. Hey Hey has it. It's fine. And then if I had to have a Disney companion, it would probably be Abu. Growing up, Aladdin was one of my favorite movies. Abu also probably in the top, 5 maybe of most helpful companions. Thievery is a nice skill to have for the monkey. Also, he looks good as an elephant too, right?
Sure.
Now I'm thinking about the magic carpet though. Does that come with Abu and the magic
Well,
carpet?
he's not
a
an
tag team deal.
Magic carpet's not an animal though.
I mean, he's kind of a dog. Like he
Kinda.
takes
Fair,
the place of a
fair.
dog, and I would consider him.
I think I'd still take
Even
Abu
though-
though. Abu's great.
But Abu would actually have been my choice on the first part of the question. Which
Yeah.
animal companion would you want as your companion?
It was
And then
also
I would
mine.
say the most helpful, and I think maybe this is controversial, but I'm going to go on a ledge here and say it's the absolutely unquestionably most helpful, Remy.
Oh, yeah.
Nah, fair. Although I think it could be argued that Linguini or Louis, what's his name?
Linguini.
The
I think,
guy?
right?
No. Linguini's the like, what's the kid's name that Ratatouille, that Remy sits in his...
Linguini.
Okay, all right. Sorry, I haven't seen the movie since it came out. I would argue though that Ratatouille, his companion is Linguini. All right, and Linguini
Alfredo
is
Linguini.
Alfredo. That's his name, Alfredo. Yeah. I would argue that Alfredo is the companion and Ratatouille is the main character.
You mean Remy?
Remy.
Ratatouille's the food.
Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, come on. Don't be dissing our favorite little rat. What about you, Brad?
I was gonna say Abu. I didn't have any extravagant answer. I'm thinking about. I mean, they're all animals in the Lion King. I was gonna say Pumbaa for some joke.
Yeah, he's so
Pumbaa.
awesome.
Pumbaa's great. Don't call him Mr. Pig, or do call him Mr. Pig. But yeah, thought we'd have some fun with the mailbag this week. It was light. I reached out to some fellow content creators and friends and asked if they had anything fun to do, and that's what they gave us. So thank you, Liam. Thank you, Jordan.
Who's the most helpful, though?
Who's the most helpful?
Yeah.
Does Baymax count as an animal companion?
No.
He's pretty helpful. Just saying.
I know. I'm pretty sure Jordan expected me to say Jock. I did answer Jock in the Discord, but
I thought that was the one you would want as your companion would be Jacques.
Well, what about Mike Wazowski?
Is he an
animal? An animal companion? No, he's a main character.
Monsters.
And they're also monsters.
My answer is Jock for both, and I don't have to explain why.
Jacques, Jacques doesn't have a companion. He's not a companion for anyone.
He's a companion to his owner.
Who's Jacques' owner? What's their name?
I don't know.
Exactly, because he's not. That's not how this works, guys. You have to answer the question.
Listen.
Just having fun. This is the mayor's rules. This is my corner.
We have to answer the question, but when Andy doesn't like the question, he just adjusts it to answer it his way, but then he's going to hold us to account to answer the question. I love it. Rules for me, but not for thee, sir. I see.
It's Villainy 101.
That's right. But that's going to wrap up Constituents Corner this week. Thank you guys for submitting the questions. Hopefully we'll have some more Lorcana related questions next week. Not that we didn't love these. Cody did ask how I felt about the winning my first set championship, which I think we already addressed, and we have additional content to go into that. But thank you, Cody, for also asking. So if you would like to have your questions answered by the villains in the future, be sure to comment on this video on YouTube, our socials, or join us on our Discord where you can comment in the Constituents Corner channel. Back to you, Vince.
All right. Thank you. Back to you, Andy. No, I'm just kidding. That was it.
Inside jokes rule.
So our main segment today is a little bit more unstructured. We're just going to talk a little bit about what we think this event will be that we're doing this weekend. The St. Louis New Year's, not New Year's extravaganza 1.5K with amazing prizing.
Ever.
Ever.
The tournament formerly known as.
This is a wild episode, y'all.
Yeah, let's talk about how we got here, right? The Second Chance tournament is something Ron and Andy manufactured with the Stitch Set championship. Back when that came out, only was it two or four cards came out? It was four. The top four got a card, right? So it was a lot less. There were a lot less cards to be. Actually, Andy, you should probably be telling the story because is your baby that. Yeah, you want me to do it?
I mean, losing top 8 sucked back then. That feeling was terrible. And when we won, it felt great. And then we won again, and it was awesome. And we realized there weren't enough cards to go around. And back then, there was a lot of players from other TCGs who were still trying to dip their toes in Lorcana to see if they liked it or not. You had a lot of people traveling from really far, just eating up all the cards, taking them back and selling them. We didn't like that, so we won a couple extra cards, and we hosted an event for all of our friends who got close but didn't quite win a card. And the winners got two. Me and Ron each donated a Stitch card. Top 2 places got that. We had like
entirely free.
Yeah, it was entirely free. We had like a potluck with it. It was awesome. Brad lost in like the first 30 seconds of the event, which was not as awesome. But no, I'm just kidding. He made a run to the very last round, and it was exhilarating. And we were all kind of running around the event going, "This is really awesome." And then we decided, we're going to stream this the next time if we ever get a chance to do this again. And luckily, the Ursula Set Champs was a similar scenario where, again, we were able to win a good amount, and our friends, again, some of them could not make it to some of the Set Champs. Like some of them just, had obligations going on, and so we put another event together, and it just sort of blossomed from there. We started doing the Set Champs, and we really liked the streaming with the Mirabelle card that came out. They expanded it to top 8, so we kind of had like a large number of Mirabelles, and all of our friends got a lot better at the game. I think Ravensburger made some changes to when the events were being held. A lot of the stores kind of settled in on their scheduling and things, and a lot of things came together and made it so that a lot of people were able to get these cards. And so we couldn't really fill a tournament out with, just a couple extra Mirabelle cards. So we knew we needed some prizing. We went to Seattle. We met a bunch of great content creators, as well as Ryan Miller, the creator of the game himself. And Kirsten, actually, my wife, told him the story of our Second Chance event. And he reached in his pocket and grabbed one of these here D23 Sorcerer Mickey cards and autographed it and said, "Here, use this for your next event." So
it's amazing.
Yeah, it really generous. We also met another content or future content creator there, Tamatoa's Lair. I don't know that they've got it up and going. They were going to do some finance, Lorcana finance kind of stuff, talk about the value of cards and how to buy your singles and things like that, how to put decks together for good low budget. They donated a card, a Mirabelle card as well. Ron as well donated several of these. Kirsten donated some. We've got Dragonfire cards from the DLC events.
Yeah. And so the thing to note here is this started before even our podcast started.
Right.
We started. Well, you and Ron started it, and then
Vince ran the
I got
melee of the first
I got
one.
dragged in
Yeah.
because I knew how to run the melee. And then we created this channel, and then we decided to live stream the second one, and our second chance. And that was actually the first time we got additional pricing from other folks in the community as well.
Yeah.
So I think we had some folks that had some Gen Con pins, the first anniversary pin, which there will be at least one of these for prizing this weekend as well.
It won't be blurry in person, guys. If you show up,
Sorry,
it will be in focus. And I'm just messing with Vince. Yeah,
but
there was promos as well. I forget what the promos were at the time. Was it the Flotsam Jetsam?
It was the Flotsam and
Yep.
Jetsam.
Okay.
Yeah. They were giving them out like candy.
We had those awesome coasters, the Lorcana coasters. I think there was a couple of those in the prize, right?
Yeah, Denver made those.
Denver made those. So
we had some folks.
But the point of all that is that not only it's such a great event, brought the community together for another chance to get a card they may not. Because initially the stipulation was if you couldn't play if you didn't have one, or if you had one
invite
already.
only.
We wanted to give it to
So,
it was invite only to people who had not made the top 4 yet. And over the course of the events we didn't have a second chance event for Mirabelle. That's what this turned into with all the additional pricing. But what is the coolest about this, not only did Ryan Miller, the co-creator of the game, donate stuff, but the entire community is like, hey, what can I donate? We were at a 1K the day before we were supposed to have this event at Grapes before the snowpocalypse of the Midwest came. And Tom, one of the locals from the Illinois side, was like, hey, I got an extra Mirabelle for you guys if you want that. I was like, go talk to Andy. Like, I'm sure he'll, take you up on that. And just people coming up and being like, you know what? You guys are, thank you for doing this. Let me give you some more incentive to, up that 1.5K and just give back to the community. The most important thing. And it's
whole
just
premise
warms
of it
my heart.
Really started out, and the reason what it was invite only was to ensure that people that were going to add these cards to their collections and hold on to them and meeting were, because I think just to show like the faith that I have in Ravensburg and how they've changed things is like back in those first kind of 2 set championships in the Stitch Rockstar and Ursula's, like you were getting folks that were literally sitting down telling their opponent who has like worked super hard to get this card that like, I'm just going to get this and I'm going to sell it. And like, honestly, you're free to do whatever you want, but for folks that are in this to like, cause they love the game, they want to collect it. We wanted to reward that. And so, at the first event, we were pretty strict about the rules about who could get it. So even if you had one in your family, you couldn't get one because we wanted to make it more accessible. Less strict when it came to the Ursula's return. So if you were, if you didn't get one, you could play, but if your spouse or kid got one, you could still play because we had more cards.
We had the playmat for that one too. Yeah. But I did think we did have like pass down, rules, if you will, that if you had already had a card and you were playing for the playmat, that your card would get passed down to the next person who placed beneath you.
And now we've created this, and the upside to this is like we have a whole new pricing structure, how we're doing it, which we're going to talk a little bit about. But also, we were really able to make the event much wider. This is a huge event, and it's actually really, really super affordable for folks because we wanted to make sure that cost wasn't a barrier to entry for folks to come in. So really, the entry fee is to cover the physical pricing for the top tables and to help support the store that is supporting us by hosting this event. We got to support the community, keep the lights on to pay the bills. And so we want to do that.
Have we even said that it's a 2-case tournament? We're focusing on all the other prize. It's a 2-case tournament, right? The Grapes is providing 2 cases. That's it's absolutely wild. Pack City. Pack City.
Is it distributed across the top 4, top 8?
I think it's top 8.
Top 8.
I got Andy real good.
You're making a cover of that song now, Brad. Pack City.
I might. We'll see.
But we are doing this in a little bit of a different way, that the prizes that Andy is showing. So he'll show again all these prizes we have. You'll see. So we got the Mirabelle.
We got Dragonfires. Boom. We got D23 Mickeys. I also didn't mention it earlier, but John and Megan, RV team members, have donated a Mirabelle playmat as well for the event. Vince, like he said, has got the pin. There's first chapter packs. I think 3 first chapter packs that'll be bundled together.
From the last event
that we're carrying
over.
I feel like there's other stuff that we're probably missing as well.
I'm trying to pull it up and see if we have it on the flyer. But it's honestly changed since we've created this.
It has, and honestly, we didn't have probably 60% of the prizes for the Ursula event that we had until halfway through the event. People were showing up to our event as it was happening, bringing more prizes. So I would not be surprised to find that there's prizes that people bring us day of, because our community is just really so awesome, and we love you guys so much. It's amazing.
And we're gonna do another one too after this. So this isn't gonna be. We're gonna do another one.
I will be available for it.
Have we shown yet? Should we show? We might have already shown this, and so it might not even be that fancy. Should we show the prize for the future event?
Oh yeah, we should. We
might have already shown it, but we've got a Cusco autographed by Ryan Miller, Steve Warner, and Coney, the artist, as well as a Baymax from Continentals. Nice. Again, autographed by Steve, Ryan, and this one's hard to see. It's like in gold or silver or whatever.
It's a beautiful signature, though. Yeah.
The artist. Yep.
Yep.
So this will be another event, along with likely Scar cards and potentially Scar mats and whatever we gather from, again, the amazing community that we have here. So we look forward to seeing everyone who comes out on the 8th. But if you can't make it there, stay tuned, because we'll have more. Hopefully one a set, I think, is a reasonable amount. If not, maybe some smaller ones in between.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I'm excited to see the Lorcana that's going to be played there, because it's set season, right? People are going to have some really good decks. People are going to play some spicy decks, I'm going to try to talk Jimmy or somebody into playing my Mufasa deck that just got me a set championship, because I want to see how it does in a tournament twice as big. Maybe 3 times as big, based on how the pre-regs are going, right? It's absolutely insane.
Jank.
Maybe he might. I'm not looking forward to timestamping that video, though. I'll tell you that. There's going to be a lot of games, but I can't wait to watch them.
Probably 6 rounds. Is it cap at 6 rounds? Are we going to 7? We're doing. If we have how many people? Tournament organizer Vince, figure that out.
I'll pull it up.
It's a good question. I don't know.
I'll pull it up. I got it. You guys keep talking.
I got it in paper.
I bet I get it.
Now I forget what I was. I forget what I was going to say here. In the meantime, to Van.
A little bit about the pricing.
Yeah, the pricing structure.
How we're going to do the pricing structure.
So we wanted to make this as big of an event as we possibly could, and so we partnered with Grapes to have the 2 cases that will go exclusively to the top cut. If you make top 8 cut at this event, you will get some amount of this 2 case. It will. I don't exactly know what the spread is. Grapes is responsible for that. But obviously, first we'll get a bunch of packs, a couple boxes probably, and it'll divvied out amongst that. However, during the regular Swiss portion of the tournament, it'll be a best of 3 format. In each round, there will be 6 tickets available between you and your opponent. You will play your games of Lorcana, best of 3, and then the tickets will be divvied up based on the result. So we wanted to make it so that everyone at least got something out of this. So we kind of combined the theory of the 2-game format here into the 3-game format. So if you win 2-0, and you let me back up here. There will be 2 tickets for each win in a round of Lorcana. So there's 3 games, a maximum of 3 games in the round, 2 tickets for the winner of each game. Now you're thinking, what happens if I win 2-0? Well, if you win 2-0, you'll get 5 of the tickets, and if you lose 0-2, you'll get 1 of the tickets. So there is still that consolation ticket for just playing the game, for having fun. And you're thinking, what do you do with these tickets? Now you're going to take the tickets, you're going to put your name on them, or again, this is being handled by Grape, so you may be like one of the split ones where you keep see the number or something. It might be one where you write your name on it, but you'll be able to go and put them in the bin of whatever prize you would like to win, whether it be a Dragonfire, a Mirabelle, or the coveted D23 Sorcerer's Mickey. So if you win more, you get more tickets, and you have more chances to get the item that you want the most. But if it doesn't go your way, if you're busy playing Mayor Fossa or something, I'm kidding.
You mean the set championship winning Mayor Fossa? Because
of course. But if the dice don't roll your way, you still get some tickets. You still have a chance to win some stuff. I know there are people out there that still don't have a Mirabelle card, so this should be an opportunity for people to get one. There's some people who weren't able to go to a DLC. You can get a Dragonfire. Same deal with the Gen Con Mickey pin and all of the other amazing prizes that we've got. And then at the end of Swiss, before we go to Top Cut, we will draw the winners for these various prizes, and everyone will rejoice. And then we'll go to Top Cut and have some riveting games for a lot of sealed product. Hopefully a couple of enchanteds in there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We're really, really excited. And yeah, to kind of go to the mayor's question over here, talk about is that we expect that'll be a pretty diverse meta as we've seen so far throughout this. So, we're expecting, I think we're going to see some Ruby Fossa. We're going to see some folks, supporting the mayor as they always do to bring that deck in. We're probably going to see some Blurple. We're probably going to definitely see some Ruby Sapphire. We're going to see some Ruby Amethyst, I think.
See that new DKP Ruby Sapphire? Defend the Manor. Probably see some of that.
Manor. We'll probably see some, and I know that I just didn't see Brad downvote Ruby Amethyst. I'm going to tell you because I'm going to say, if you do, our mascot's going to flame you in your sleep.
Gonna be mad. Well, I really
gonna be mad.
I really like the fact that this is like sort of at the end of the set championships here. This it's like everyone got to play 3 weekends. They got to test a bunch of different decks. They hopefully all got to win a Scar or a playmat or get as far as they dreamed they would. And now we've got this sort of final showdown. This, I can't say the name of the sporting event that I wanted to compare it to because I realized we'd probably get demonetized in some fashion. But this this Super Bowl like event, Brad gave me the go ahead.
I was like, we're not monetized. What are you talking
Good point. Yeah, it's going to be really awesome to see. We're going to have some of the best players in the St. Louis area. I know Reckless, our teammate, will be out there playing for the D23 Mickey. I'm drawing a blank on all of the other great players in St. Louis area now. There's at least 50 of them, and I can't name a single other one.
We have interviewed like
10 of them
at least over the past few weeks. But we're expecting a great turnout. I wouldn't entirely even be surprised if we get some folks from out of town to come, because I know some folks were originally planning to come to our first event from out of town, but unfortunately that just did not work out because of the snow apocalypse.
Yeah.
But I think it's great, and I hope we get to do more of these. And I think it's great that other stores are doing this, like the Southside Gaming and PPG, these other tournaments, to kind of fill this gap in this kind of lull. We're seeing that we don't have like another major tournament on our radar, and
Well,
that,
except
that
for
we're able to
Worlds.
do that.
It's-
Do you have the date?
Yeah,
Do
it's
you have
going
the
to be in
date?
March.
Do you have the date?
It's going to be in March. They're just not going to announce it until like
Like the
late
day
February.
of. They're gonna be like, hey,
late
guess what?
February.
By the way, guys, book your ticket. You need to be
Oh,
here.
They're
6 hours.
they're flying all the people. It's like a world. It's a pop up. That's what it is. It'll just like all of a
pop-up.
sudden be there. You had to know about it.
But yeah, so I'm pretty excited. Anything else we want to talk about?
I'm bummed that I'm missing it. It's
We are too.
Yeah.
the biggest naturally the biggest event, Lorcana event of our podcasting, or local event of our podcasting life, and I can't be there. It's killing me. It's just prior obligation, something I've been doing for almost a decade. So I'm gonna be there in spirit. I'm gonna be checking in on the YouTube, saying hi as much as I can. But I know you guys are gonna kill it. You guys are gonna banish it. So yeah. Preemptively congratulations on what looks to be like it's going to be super successful, and can't wait to see how you guys do.
I'm hoping to level up to B tier caster.
Yeah, we'll just have to check with Dick Burns and see. We'll see what he says.
Well, listen, we don't need any approval from a D tier caster.
See the vein in Vince's head is growing. He's like, "Don't bring that guy up on this channel. I swear."
We're gonna throw down. Yes, there is a brewing rivalry between Rules of Villain and the Forbidden Mountain. And listen, I'm just gonna say we did not start it.
We didn't,
Dick
but we
Burns
will finish
started
it.
And we will finish
Oh,
it. Yes.
this is fast.
We would have Dick on, but he's honestly bad for the brand, is what I hear. So,
I mean, he's bad for their brand, to be honest with you.
Probably worse for ours, honestly.
I actually have a Dick Burns sign card somewhere in here.
Yeah, I
that
do
got
too.
from Seattle.
That's probably what, like, we asked him to get the card, and he just like put us in a book. He was like, "All right, these beef with these folks. You know, everyone he gives a card out to, he remembers you, and you're just like on his list of people to start beef with."
But we're gonna have some great casters. So it's gonna be me and Andy. I think Kirsten is gonna join us for some matches. We'll also probably have the Grapes folks on. Who knows who else has? We've got a potentially super special secret guest caster. More details to potentially come on them. Although by the time you hear this episode, that may or may not be announced.
May not. You may have to tune in to find out. A lot of this stuff is going to be fly by the seat of our. What is I don't know what the term is, but
by the seat of our pants.
Yeah.
I think the term is we'll do it live.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else you guys want to talk about before we move on to the villain of the week?
Yeah, I definitely think we need to talk a little bit more specific about the meta at this event. I don't want to go too much into it, but I need at the very least a prediction on most played deck or in color combination, as well as the winning ink color combination from each of you.
That's fine. But time, okay? Time.
Oh, you know what? You shouldn't have wasted it all in Underworld news, all right? This is important.
I tell you what. When we hit time, this podcast ends. It doesn't even matter.
Our villain of the week is
11 minutes.
Even that
11
great,
and a half
anyway.
minutes, guys. I'm going to say most played combo. I don't know. And I
mean, like, if you want to do a specific deck, that's fine. If you want to do an ink color combination, that's fine. Just like
I think Amber will be the most played. No,
just one
Steel.
color combination.
All right, Amber Steel. Amber Steel is going to be dominant, I think.
All right. You think it's going to
I
win?
don't think it's going to win, though.
Okay.
No.
What do you think is going to win?
Red Fossa.
Red Fossa. Oh, all right. Brad's memeing over here. Vince, most represented ink combination or specific deck?
Probably Ruby Sapphire.
Ruby Sapphire. Okay. And who do you think is going to win it?
I think Ruby Sapphire is going to win it.
I think Ruby Sapphire is going to win it all. Okay. I think, here we go. Hot take because you both took my answer. I'm going to say that Amber Amethyst is going to be
That's the first one I
most
thought of.
played.
I
Because
decided not to do it.
We do have quite a few aggro players in our area, and I think
We
last
do.
time at the set champs it was tied for first, or like one away from most played. So I'm gonna go on a limb and say that maybe the most played, and I think that we might see Emerald Steel win it all.
Emerald
I was thinking about
Steel.
both of those when as you were talking. I was like, I know Nick, Ace, and Ron might play Emerald Steel for sure. The other two absolutely will. I want to say the Izzy. I think Izzy. I would like
not just Izzy, the Izzy.
I want to see her switch
Infamous.
back to Lemon Lime aggro and do some work on these guys.
That was a pretty spicy list.
Mikey will probably stay on Amber Amethyst.
All right, well, stop giving away. You can stop giving away all their color combinations. All right. Whoa.
Okay, you're right. I should. I'm just speculating.
If an
I
out
know
of
what
towner
they're
comes
good at.
in,
We're
and
gonna Mickey all of that.
I hope Hunter plays. I hope Hunter plays Ruby Steel.
Ruby Steel. All right. If
you know,
if anyone
he's
can do it,
gonna
Hunter
play
can,
Baja Blast.
but he can't.
Boo,
Right.
Hunter. But yeah, no Baja Blast. Where do you think that's gonna end? Anybody coming
think
with
he'll
it?
do all
Anybody
right.
There might be a couple. I'm thinking about building one for tomorrow night.
I have been testing it a little bit. May or may not have to do with an upcoming video we're doing, but just doing a little research.
Yeah, I should actually probably build it too. That's a good point. Thanks for putting that idea.
You're welcome.
That'll be a fun bunch of mirrors tomorrow at Bodox. Great, guys. Thanks. Awesome idea.
I will not be at Bodox if we remember correctly.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
you have other obligations.
Because
For
I
future
didn't do
content.
the
All right, let's get to this villain of the week that you all
Mayor.
rushed me to.
Take it away.
I didn't rush you. I'll talk all night. All right, tonight's villain of the week. Apologies to Gantu from set 4, Ursula's Return. We have Gaston, Despicable Dealer, 3-cost uninkable character, super rare card in Amber. Classification Storyborn and Villain. 2 strength, 4 willpower, quest for 1 with the ability Dubious Recruitment. Exert this card, you may pay 2 ink less for the next character you play this turn. Flavor text, yes, everything will be ready. Just make sure you do your part. Art by Brian Kessinger. This card makes Red Fossa so much fun. I started thinking about what other Amber decks you could work him in for cheating out characters, but being able to play Tremaine on 4, being able to play both Rhea and Rapunzel on 4 to refresh your hand, like that's I talk about in my deck tech video that combination right there between Rhea's ability, Rapunzel's draw ability, assuming you have damage on board, getting to play 2 4-cost characters on turn 4 is absolutely wild. He just opens the door for so many options in that deck. You got your Mufasa, what you're trying to do, the Mufasa roulette. You got Judy Hopps to come out to ready him up at the end of your turn, because at the end of your turn ability, you can ready another chosen character, so it saves him from challenging. And once people realize how effective he is, they just gun for him, as I found in the later matches of the tournament. You got your Tremaines, you got your Stitch, your Carefree Surfer Stitch. You can play that on 5 now, assuming you have 2 other characters on board, then you get more draw. It's just such a great card. I know immediately what Andy's going to say in a red-blue matchup, which I was fortunate enough to dodge all day on Sunday. Any kind of ramp will get him Medusa'd, or some kind of hard removal. Brawl. He's brawlable even.
Ice block little Sisu.
But all day he was only taken out by challenging. Like I was very clear in my video and my interview with you that I was the recipient of very fortunate matchups or lucked into draws that the steel songs that I played didn't have the storms or the strengths to take out my board effectively at times. But when he's online, he is fantastic, and the fact that you can use him multiple times in a turn with the Rhea ability and whatever else you can do to ready him up just brings out those characters a lot quicker, and he's really an MVP.
So sometimes we
really
always
nice.
say better lucky than good. I think the
Yeah.
thing I really like about this card, though, and this kind of shows the development, is that we're seeing cards that just didn't get a lot of play come back into the meta game.
Sure.
I mean, this is a card from Ursula's Return a few sets ago that really, doesn't see a ton of play, and now coming and finding a spot. And honestly, like, I know you talk about Sisu and Medusa and stuff, but one of the things that like kind of for a while often became a kind of a meme in the Lorcana community is like dies to Medusa. And while it does, what we're finding is that people are able to play around that, because what you're able to do with this character is, if you play him, he stays on the board once, you get to use him and you get that value. So you don't have to worry so much about the resources that you're inking. So you can hold more cards in hand and play to a wider board. And that gives you the ability, for that Medusa to not necessarily be as valuable. So yeah, they take out the Gaston, but they might look at another character on your board that's more valuable to try to take out. And, we're not just seeing that in this particular matchup, but I think the point is like, a lot of things are brawlable. A lot of things can be ice blocked and brought down to Sisu. A lot of things, can be Medusa, but we're still seeing them played because some of those cards are being taken out of those decks, or less of them, right? Or you're just playing a different strategy when you go into those matches to try to make it, maybe not as valuable
Certainly.
to play.
And I mean,
Medusa.
We also talk, Brawl, Medusa, Sisu are all cards that are exclusive to Ruby. So the flip side of that is the other removal is Steel, and Gaston is actually very strong into Steel. Having a 4 body is actually really nice. I think to try and, defend my client, if we will, going back to our days of the council here, part of the problem with Gaston is, one, having more than one of him, kind of like a dock, isn't that great. The more Gastons you have, the less good he is, I feel, like in your hand. I mean, that is not necessarily in your deck, but so he's a card you want to only have one of. He is a card that can be very risky. He's high risk, high reward, essentially, which is kind of what this Ruby Fasa deck has a lot of in it. When you're playing Mufasa Roulette, it is, a risky deck inherently, but you play Gaston on 3, and then if it gets, hit by something like a Brawl or even a Strength of a Raging Fire, because by turn 3, something like Amber Steel is potentially, if they're on their turn 4, they're potentially putting out a 4th character, or even if they just put out two characters in one turn, they could potentially be on 4 characters and easily sing Strength with, the 1-drop Cindy they have. So, and then you get absolutely 0 value for this Gaston. So it does have downside to it, but it's ramp in Amber, which is,
right.
doesn't exist anywhere else. And
but
like Vince said, like Vince said, if you do get Gaston off, you're almost certainly playing a card that is far more enticing to remove than the Gaston itself, which ideally allows you to then play another one and another one and another. And so Gaston does kind of sneak by, if you will.
I think the weakness of this card really just depends on if you have cards in hand to play, and B, how good your top decks are too, right? So if you can top deck, like, I mean, on Monday I saw Brad play this, and the top decks he had were utterly insane. And I think part of that is just by being like, a character heavy deck, right? Like, this is a card you want to have in a character heavy deck.
60 characters, baby.
And I think that's why this fits really well in this deck, particularly, Brad. But is like, when you get these amazing top decks, or you have valuable characters in your hand, like you said, Andy, that you can play off curve for super impactful value, huge deal. If though you're playing this in a scenario where you're top decking and you get terrible top decks, this is, as you said, I think a terrible card, right? Like it's value. This is a card you really do want to try to get out close to curve on 3
for sure,
because it's a card that is going to maximize your value. Because as you get closer to the end state game, this card is less valuable.
Yeah, because it's easier to remove later in the game and stuff. I just think that like the quicker they can deal with the Gaston, the worse it is for you. Like you want to try and get extra value. That turn 4 Rapunzel Rhea play you're talking about, Brad, is absolutely
insane,
unfair.
Yeah.
It's pretty bonkers. And so something like that is if you get that play off, then at that point you don't care if the Fox comes down and takes out the Gaston, which is another thing that it is kind of relatively weak to. But I think overall it's a great card in a very character focused meta that we're in, because it is a body on the board, but it is also that pseudo ramp essentially. You're not playing something like How Far I'll Go on 4 and really having nothing to show for it. The amount of times I watched Brad use his Gaston to take out a Lilo or to take out, 2 of them to take out a Daisy or something like that. It is still a 2/4 body on the board that can, be very, very versatile if it survives and sticks around.
Absolutely. Brad, do you want to talk a little bit about the artist spotlight here?
Yeah, artist spotlight on Brian Kessinger. He's a 20-year plus at Disney Animation. He's at briankessinger.com, at Brian Kessinger on Instagram. He's an Emmy winner for the new Netflix animated show Blue Eye Samurai. I think that he just got an Emmy recently for that as the lead character designer for that. Within the Disney Lorcana itself, he has 14 cards. The notable ones are all the Flotsam and Jetsams, with the exception of the first set. But I think he's got 5 Flotsam and Jetsams between the following sets. Every other Flotsam and Jetsam are his. And then the legendary genie from set 5 that I can never make work, but has beautiful art, though, all the hands and everything. And the legendary Hades from this set, which I haven't tried to make work yet. But 0 enchanted, but no, the ruby one in this set.
The ruby one was with the built-in glimmer for glimmer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, 14 cards, 0 enchanted at this time, but hopefully at some point he will, because all the cards, all 14 of them look really good.
Yeah.
And just wanted to shout him out. I think this Gaston looks great too.
It does. It's crazy. He's done work on Tarzan to Frozen 2, worked on Marvel Comics and Lucasfilm. So crazy. All over the place. It's great to see talented. These artists that we have. Andy, I will just say you did talk about being the defending the client on this one of a segment. That segment is not dead to our viewers out there. It is just not going to be a regular segment on this show, but it is not dead. The Galactic Council still exists.
We have been, in talks with Ravensburger about them giving us banning privileges. So that when we do bring that segment back, all of the things that we state in our erratas or our bans are actually then legally valid in the game of Lorcana going forward. So, once we get that deal worked out, just a few things to iron out, then we'll bring the segment back.
I mean, all we got to do is just take that card to Ryan Miller and be like, hey.
He'll just scratch it out. Yeah.
Scratch it out for you. Do it right there for you. But anyway, let us know let us know your thoughts on the villain of the week. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you're joining us on audio, which I hope you are, or on YouTube, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
And if you're joining us on YouTube, which if you're not, you really should be, because we have a lot of fun over here. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. Subscribe. I can say that word. Subscribe. Be sure to ring the bell, because Vince tells me that means that you guys know when our episodes come out, and also live stream this weekend in a day, maybe from when this gets released. Watch us. Brad, your part.
We understand your time is valuable, so we appreciate you spending a little bit of it with us. If you would like to follow along as we plot our devious plans, consider following us on our socials. We're on Instagram, Blue Sky, and the platform formerly known as Twitter @RulesOfVillainy. We also have a growing community on our Discord, which you could join with the link below.
Until next week, stay safe, fellow villains. Be wary of wannabe heroes like those D-tier casters at the Forbidden Mountain who want to disrupt your villainous plans. And as always, remember the rules of villainy.
And time.